This week in the NBA has been absolute chaos, and it's going to impact every single fantasy roster. The Pelicans are officially moving on from Zion, Giannis wants out of Milwaukee and now he's hurt, and Steph Curry is now expected to miss another full week of basketball. All this creates massive opportunities on the waiver wire. And today's video is going to be a little bit different than my usual Friday uploads. We're breaking down the biggest news first, and then I'm giving you 5 stash players that you need to have on your watch list before your league meets to even know what's happening. Welcome back to The Corner, your #1 destination for everything fantasy basketball related. Every week, I'm breaking down the best waiver picks, trade targets, sleepers, and so much more. All the moves you need to stay ahead of your league. If you have been enjoying the content on this channel and you want to stay one step ahead of everyone else, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notifications so you never miss a single video. Now let's get into this one. So let's kick off this week's Weekend Fire list by talking about the absolute bombshell news that dropped on Wednesday afternoon, because this news completely reshapes the fantasy landscape and it shocked me even though there were some rumblings about it beforehand. Midday on Wednesday, reports surfaced that Giannis and his agent are exploring a potential move out of Milwaukee. Now, do I think Giannis does get traded during the season? No, I don't think that's going to happen. That feels a little bit unrealistic considering that the Bucks are still in the playoff race. But then again, Luka did get traded from the Mavs last year, but then that move got the GM fired. But the possibility alone of Giannis moving is enough to shake things up, because if anything were to happen, you're looking at a massive fantasy ripple effect. Guys like Kyle Kuzma, Kevin Porter Jr., Miles Turner, and Bobby Portis would all see noticeable bumps in their usage to help fill that void. But that's not even the biggest hit. The real breaking news is that Giannis has now strained his calf and is expected to miss the next 2 to 4 weeks. This has quietly become one of the most injury-prone seasons for Giannis so far in his career, and unfortunately, that trend is going to continue a little bit more. If you roster him, you are going to feel this hard at this point. And it doesn't stop there. If you have Steph Curry on your roster, he is also set to miss more time with the quad injury. The original timeline was only for a week, but now the Warriors have extended that for another full week, with an expected return around December 12th, but honestly, with the quad injury, that could be even longer. So once again, more usage is going to be opening up on that Warriors roster, and we're going to talk about who benefits from that. And finally, to wrap up the breaking news section, the Pelicans have officially made it known they are ready to move on from Zion Williamson. If you have not been keeping up, Zion has now missed more games in his career than he has played, and that is a huge problem. The Pelicans are starting to reach the point where they're just ready for a full reset, especially with the emergence of Derek Queen. There's no reason to keep Zion Williamson even longer. This is huge for fantasy because whenever a franchise signals a rebuild, opportunity starts to open up everywhere on the roster. So with all this chaos going on, let's talk about the players you need to stash right now before your league mates catch on. To kick off the list of players you need to have rostered, we first have Saddiq Bey, who could now be officially in that league winner category for the rest of the season. Bey has always been one of those guys who can carry the load whenever a team asks him to. We've seen stretches of this in Detroit, we've seen flashes in Atlanta, but now the opportunity is in New Orleans and it's bigger than it has ever been. With Zion out for the next 3 weeks minimum and the Pelicans openly signaling that they are ready to move on from him and start over, Bey's role is about to explode for the Pelicans. The Pelicans desperately need someone who can absorb usage, space the floor, and actually stay on the court. That is exactly where Bey thrives. He doesn't need a crazy shot diet to be productive. He can rebound, he hits threes, and he plays heavy minutes when needed. It's been very easy for him throughout his career to become a high floor player and a high ceiling player whenever a star goes down. And here's the best part. This production that I'm talking about is not a fluke. He's already been doing this over the past week or two with Zion off the court. And the best part about all of this is that Bey is only rostered in about 40% of fantasy leagues right now. That number should already be way higher, but once Zion trade rumors start to pick up even more, or especially if the Pelicans actually do make the move, Bey's roster percentage is going to skyrocket into the 70s or maybe even 80%. If he's sitting on your league's waiver wire, this is not a think about it later type of situation. This is a drop what you're doing and go add him immediately. Opportunities like this don't just show up often in the NBA, and when they do, the managers who move fast get rewarded. Next on this list, we have Brandon Pods. And listen, I'm not the biggest Pods fan out there, but the opportunity in Golden State right now is just too good to ignore. Steph Curry was originally supposed to miss just 1 week with that quad bruise that he sustained last week, but that timetable has now been pushed back another week. Last week, I suspected that Will Richard would take advantage of this because he has in the past, but when you look at the Warriors roster, it's honestly very tough to predict who benefits the most from the extra usage with Steph Curry being out. The team is just all over the place. One night it could be Richard, another night it could be Pods, another night it could be Moody. Another night, it could be Steph Curry's brother. So honestly, this is a shot in the dark, but Paz has been averaging around 26 points per night all season on efficient scoring, and while he's not going to win you a matchup by himself, he's absolutely serviceable with Steph being sidelined. If you have the chance to roster him in your league, this is the window to do it. Just keep your expectations realistic. He's more of a help you stay afloat guy than he is a league winner, but opportunity is opportunity, and Paz is getting it right now with Steph being out. Next, we have the big Bobby Portis in Milwaukee, and this season has been rough for Portis to say the least. A guy who usually lives comfortably inside of the top 15, top 18 power forwards every year, he's been playing well below his normal production. With that being said, this is exactly the type of situation where things can swing fast in your favor. With Giannis now sidelined for the next few weeks and Kevin Porter Jr. finally being healthy, Portis is about to walk into a much better offensive environment. Giannis has missed stretches before, and Portis didn't suddenly explode with his absence, but the difference this time is that we have Kevin Porter Jr. back. Porter is a far better playmaker than anyone Milwaukee had running the show during previous Giannis absences, and that alone should create easier looks around the rim and more rhythm shots for Portis. He's also only rostered in about a 38% of fantasy leagues right now, which is shockingly low for someone who's about to see a massive usage bump and guaranteed minutes while Milwaukee tries to stay afloat without Giannis. If Bobby Portis is sitting on the waiver wire, you go grab him now. Before everyone else starts to react to Giannis being out, there is a very small window and you do not want to wait. Next on this list, we've got Dylan Harper, and he's finally back from his injury, and man, he has looked good over the past week. Harper has stepped right in and looked like he has not missed a single game all season. Now, let's be clear, he's not going to win you a matchup by himself. He's not a league winner, but he is the kind of player who can stabilize your roster during a very chaotic week. The Spurs are dealing with injuries left and right, and that's opened the door for Harper to get consistent minutes and carve out a real role on this offense. He's efficient, he plays with confidence, and he fills the stat sheet just enough to matter, especially if you're in a deeper league. If you're in a 12, 14, 16, or even an 18 team league, this is exactly the type of guy you want on your bench. He's currently only rostered in about 32% of ESPN leagues, so chances are he's still out there in your league right now. And if he is, I wouldn't hesitate. I would grab him. He's not going to carry you into a dub every week, but he will keep your lineup steady while your stars deal with injuries or minutes restrictions. Peyton Watson is going to be the gem of this entire video. Out of everyone that we've talked about so far, he's the only player who has completely shattered my expectations. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you already know my stance. I do not like adding Nuggets players outside of Murray and Jokic. That rotation is usually a complete nightmare for fantasy basketball. It's unpredictable minutes, random usage spikes, and almost no consistency outside of those two. But Watson, he's forcing his way into relevance. Over the last month, he has played way above his usual production. He started off the year really slow, looked like the same inconsistent bench piece from last season, and then something clicked. The confidence is now there, the minutes are now there thanks to injuries, and more importantly, the role is now secure. And here's the real key to all the recent success. Aaron Gordon is going to be out for the next month with that hamstring injury that he got. That changes everything. Gordon eats up a ton of minutes, he rebounds well, and he defends well. He fills gaps all over the floor. With him now being sidelined, the Nuggets have no choice but to lean on Watson more heavily. And we're already seeing that shift, and it's only going to grow more as the schedule tightens. Watson is the exact type of midseason pickup that helps you win your matchups. He's athletic, he fills multiple categories, and he's finally getting the runway to show what he can do. This is not a fluke stretch by any means. This is a real opportunity for progression. So if you're looking for a player who can help you this weekend and provide real value moving forward into the middle part of the season, Peyton Watson is the move. Don't overthink it. Add him now before everyone else realizes what's happening in Denver. These 5 players are poised to have an amazing finish to week 7 and give you a huge advantage heading into week 8 to close out the NBA Cup. If they're still free in your league, you should absolutely be rostering them right now. Before you guys go, don't click away just yet. Watch the video on your screen now, and that one I break down the best players to target in trade talk so you can stay ahead of your entire league. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by the corner. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.